Hello and welcome to another episode of In News. In this segment today, we are going to discuss about the BOLD project of KVIC. This topic is important from the perspective of prelims and also from the perspective of GS mains paper. So let's begin with the topics of discussion that we are going to look at. First of all, we will talk about the news, then we will discuss all about the project BOLD, that is Bamboo Oasis of Lands in Drought. All right, then we will discuss all about bamboo. We will also discuss about land degradation, the causes and impacts. We will also talk about initiatives undertaken in order to prohibit land degradation and desertification at the national and international level. Also, we will discuss about the challenges, the way forward, and in the last of the segment, I will ask you a pre-based question so that you will be well practiced with this session. So let's begin with why is it in the news? Now, the Khadi and Village Industry Commission has launched the project BOLD in order to increase the remuneration of the tribal area and also to take care of the environment by having green patches of bamboo in the desertified and degraded land. What is Project BOLD? Let's have a look at it. So, point by point, we will discuss it. This project is the project of Khadi and Village Industries Commission and has the name by the acronym of BOLD, that is Bamboo Oasis on Lands in Drought. If we talk about KVIC, this is a statutory body. First of all, remember that this is a statutory body and it draws its powers from the KVIC, that is Khadi and Village Commission Act of 1956. It works under the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, and the saplings that have been planted is in the Nichla Mandwa in Udaipur, Rajasthan. What is this project? Under this project, 5,000 saplings of special bamboo species by the name of Bambusa tulda and Bambusa polymorpha from Assam have been planted over 16 acres of vacant arid Gram Panchayat land of the village Nichla Mandwa. So, with the help of this project, first is to increase the economic opportunities for the tribal areas and also to take care of the environment. All right, because bamboo is a very green and very fast growing, if we talk about plant, and it will of course give immense economic opportunities in a very short span of time. And by planting 5,000 saplings of special bamboo species, the KVIC has made a world record of planting the most number of saplings in one day at one place. Now, KVIC will replicate this project in the Dholera district in Ahmedabad, in Gujarat, and another one in Leh Ladakh by August 2021. We are here at the end of this year. So 15,000 saplings more have to be planted, right? Let's move on and talk about the project more. It is the first of its kind exercise in India, seeks to create bamboo-based green patches in arid and semi-arid zones. It has been launched as a part of KVIC's Khadi Bamboo Festival to celebrate 75 years of independence Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. So if we talk about KVIC, its basic objective is to promote, plan, organize and work in tandem with other agencies to give a boost to Khadi and other industries in the rural areas. So that is why this project has been undertaken, and to celebrate the independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav is an initiative of the Government of India in order to celebrate the glorious history and culture of the people of India who have done a lot, who have been instrumental in making India as a progressive India. And the significance of it is that it will reduce desertification and provide livelihood and multidisciplinary rural industry support. Reduce desertification in the sense as it is a bamboo-based green patch on the degraded areas. Of course, it will cover the area with greenery and provide proper rehabilitation to the degraded area and provide livelihood, as bamboo is a very useful material in many things, in many industries. So that is the second advantage of it. It will also act as havens of sustainable development and food security. In India, bamboo covers 13.96 million hectares of area with 136 species. Some of the very important species for commercial importance is bamboo tulda, bamboo balcua, bamboo cacharrensis, and can be used for making furniture, handicraft, paper, pulp, construction work. So as you can see, bamboo will be used in so many regions and so many areas that it is bound to increase livelihood opportunities, and especially for those people who are unskilled, and those people are very significant in the tribal areas. Also, bamboos are very fast growing plants and can be harvested in about 3 years. If we talk about the environmental significance, first is bamboo helps in reducing evaporation of water from land surface, and this is a very important feature in the arid and drought-prone areas. If an area does not receive as much rainfall as it should to conserve itself, bamboo's roots help in conserving them. Also, used to control pollution by making use of bamboo charcoal, which has absorption properties. If we talk about bamboo charcoals, these charcoals are made from a piece of bamboo which is harvested at least after 5 years, and they are cooked in an oven with the range of 800 to 1200 degree Celsius. And when it is burnt, bamboo charcoal, when it is burnt, it leaves a residue which doesn't leave any carbon footprint, right? So that is why it can be useful for that as well, and protects against harmful ultraviolet rays, reduces pollution, reduce up to 35% carbon dioxide in the climate, and deliver more oxygen. Bamboo roots also help in controlling erosion as it makes a water barrier. Bamboo also devours high amounts of nitrogen, which helps in decreasing water pollution. Hence, it reduces land degradation, prevents land desertification, achieves sustainable development, and solve food security issues. Also, because we are abiding by the Paris Accord of 2015, and we are lagging behind in making a carbon sequestering area. As we know, the third point of it is that approximately 3.5 billion tons of carbon dioxide has to be sequestered. That is why we need forests, and for that this project is going to be giving a big boost. Also, if we talk about the economic benefits, it will boost self-employment in that area, of course, because people who have lands will be able to plant bamboos, and hence it will be beneficial for not only them if they are looking for employment, but also for the environment and the government. Also benefit a large number of women and unemployed youths in region by connecting them to skill development program. This is self-explanatory. These can be used for multiple economic activities like construction purpose, thus saving locals the cost of timber, bricks, and steel. It also provides livelihood opportunities in areas of handicrafts, bamboo furniture, culinary items, papers, bags, handbags, textile, household items, to name a few. Let's look at these two pictures. This is the first picture belongs to Bambusa tulda, okay? And the second picture is of Bambusa polymorpha. So these are commercially very beneficial. Moving ahead, let's talk about our next point, that is land degradation. Land degradation or desertification refers to the process in which biological productivity of dry lands, that is in arid and semi-arid areas, is reduced due to natural or artificial factors. There are many factors such as climate change, which leads to disasters like drought, soil erosion, overexploitation of resources. And according to government's data, Indian government's data presented to the United Nations Convention on to combat desertification, areas under desertification, if we talk about, and land degradation, it has increased. There is an increase of 1.16 MHA. An area under desertification. That means whatever it was in the past, it has increased yet again. That is close to 29% of India's area. It is undergoing degradation. So the causes first is unsustainable land management. Areas which are under cultivation, if they receive a lot of pesticides, insecticides, and all the kinds of chemicals it should not be getting, if it is in excess of that, it is obviously going to have come under the unsustainable land management practices. So first of all, we need to understand that land is a limited resource. It is not unlimited in nature. That is why we need to conserve it. Second is regional imbalance. Certain places are there which may become wasteland much faster than the other place because of the immense pressure put on by the population for meeting the demand of food security, land security, shelter, and so much. So that is another thing. One place might be getting degraded at a faster rate and it can't be reversed. Land degradation is a very pressing issue because it does not have immediate remedies for that reason. Second, if we talk about the impacts of it, let's look at it. It accelerates climate change and biodiversity loss, contributing to droughts, wildfires, involuntary migration, and emergence of zoonotic infectious disease. Zoonotic infectious disease, the biggest example we have in front of us is the COVID-19. Zoonotic infectious disease is a disease that jumps from the animal species to the human species, and degradation gives rise to that as well. Moving on, let's look at this map. The Desertification and Land Degradation Atlas, which has been provided by Space Application Center of ISRO from Ahmedabad. It provides contents which will help you to understand the state-wise desertified and degraded lands for the year 2018 and 19. And it will also provide you a 15-year change that has occurred from the year 2003-2005 to 2018 and 19. So 15 years of continuous degradation has been put out in the atlas by the Union Ministry of Environment. So the contents, if you want to look at it, it is state-wise desertification and land degradation status that depicts land use, the process of degradation, and how severe it is. This was prepared using IRS Advanced Wide Field Sensor, and the area under desertification, land degradation for both time frames and changes are reported state-wise as well as for the entire country. Now, this map will help the government in order to chalk out a plan for those areas which are very much and severely degraded and those areas which are less degraded. So this atlas will help a lot, and it was released recently. The outputs are helpful in prioritizing areas to be taken up for minimizing the impacts of desertification and land degradation. Let's move on to the initiatives that have been taken in order to provide proper land management and also prohibit land degradation. At the national level, we have Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. This was launched in the year 2016, and this is going to provide comprehensive insurance to the farmers so that they can have, if we talk about insurance, that is related to crop, as you can see, fasal. So that the farmers can have a stable income. And as we know, agriculture is a major part of our entire economy. So farmers need to have proper social net if they fall back with respect to climate change. Also, soil health card scheme, which was launched in the year 2015 by Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. It wants to provide a report. Under it, a report is provided in which specifically 12 nutrients are shown if they are present in the soil or not, so that the farmers can use the proper amount of pesticides, insecticides, fertilizers, and the rest. So, sustainable land management. Also, Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, which was launched in the year 2015, it looks out for, it's a central sponsored scheme That means the funding of it is divided between the central government and the state government. So what does it do? It provides efficient irrigation facilities for the crops. And also National Mission for Green India, which was launched in the year 2008. Okay, this actually comes under National Action Plan for Climate Change. National Action Plan for Climate Change was launched in the year 2008, and this was under its component. One of its component was the National Mission for Green India, in order to reverse the degraded land and reverse the desertification by providing more and more greenery to the area. In the international arena, first is the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification. Now, this was launched in the year 1994, and this was the first ever treaty to understand the link between environment, development, and land management. And it is the sole legally binding treaty. Also, we have the Bonn Challenge. Under this, 150 million hectares of land were to be brought back by the year 2020, reverse the degradation of 150 million hectares of land. And by the year 2030, 350 million hectares of land is to be reversed. The degradation of it is to be reversed. Then comes the Great Green Wall. It is first of all an initiative of Global Environmental Facility, and it includes 11 Sahel-Saharan African countries who are fighting against land degradation with the help of native plant species, right? Let's move on and talk about the challenges. See, globally, about 25% of the total land has been under degradation. Air pollution is a big challenge because when land is degraded, soil carbon and nitrous oxide is released into the atmosphere. And that is why these are the contributors of climate change. When it comes to land pollution, scientists have already warned that 24 billion tons of fertile soil was being lost per year, which raised the issue of food security. And the country such as India, it of course should look at it from a more serious perspective. Also, if this trend continues, 95% of Earth's land could become degraded by 2050. Globally, 3.2 billion people are affected by land degradation, and the world population is projected to increase about 35% to 9.7 billion in 2050. Now, with rising demands for agricultural products, food, feed, and fiber and fuel, we are looking at a very grim future. What is the way forward? If we talk about India, it's focusing on sustainable land and resource management for livelihood generation at the community level. And National Action Plan or Program for Combating Desertification was prepared in the year 2001 to take appropriate action in addressing the problems of desertification. So it's not so that India is doing nothing. India is doing not at a pace it should, but it is doing something or the other to make sure that whatever commitments are there under the Paris Accord, the intended nationally determined contribution, this is taken into account. And India, the population of India is putting a lot of pressure on the land. So India, the government, the people should look at regional balancing and putting the balanced amount of pressure in the entire region and not moving to one region, making it desertified and then moving on to other region, right? So Project BOLD is a step in the right direction. Let's move on to our question. What is or are the importances of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification? It aims to promote effective action through innovative national program and supportive international partnerships. It has a special particular focus on South Asia and North Africa region, and its secretariat facilitates the allocation of major portion of financial resources to these regions. It is committed to bottom-up approach, encouraging the participation of local people in combating the desertification. We have to select the correct answer using the code given below. So I hope you found this segment informative. That's it for today. Tomorrow we shall meet again with another segment. Until then, stay updated and thank you so much for watching.